Hi everybody, it's Lee McQueen, and this video is discussing a strategy for voting either for Berniecrats or Greens down ballot. And the reason for this strategy is the fact that once we send Bernie Sanders to Washington as the president at the top of the ballot for a progressive sea change, he's going to need some help. He's going to need friendlies lifting him up as part of a political structure so he can get his policies passed, progressive policies passed, including policies on responsibility with use of our military, uh, use of our law enforcement, use of our National Guard, scaling back or even eliminating completely the drug war, just a sensible approach to it, and then campaign finance reform, healthcare, education, environment, all of these issues that he's spoken of all across the United States as on his journeys to meet both of the coasts, Middle America, and everyone else in between. So it takes more than one person to do that, and this is where we come in. We can send him to Washington with a group ready to assist him because there are some Democrats and Republicans who are waiting to obstruct him, and we're not going to let that happen, I hope. And so now we can talk about strategy on how to send these people into office with Bernie to get progressive changes going. And then even in our own communities, in our own states, in our municipalities, in our cities, we want progressives moving from the ballot into office. And so this is one way that we can help make that happen. Berniecrats or Greens down ballot. In previous videos, I spoke of the Berniecrats at berniecrats.net. Online, there is a list of Bernie-leaning candidates who are running for office, all the way from U.S. Senate to U.S. Representative to State Senate to State Representative and city councils. There's mayors, there's a couple of governors on that list. We definitely want progressives in position to assist Bernie because these are the people who decide how to redistrict voting districts. They decide the voting structure, the voting process, ballot access issues, things that we see every day that affect our communities every day. We want those progressives too, not just the president. We want progress all across America. Okay, so that's why we have to pay attention to the people down ballot. At berniecrats.net, if you looked at that video, you know that there's a long list by state. So whatever state you live in, you can look at that list and see where the Berniecrats are in your state. I set the first few, there's 0 to 5 in these states. And there are some states like California that have 53 Berniecrats running for office, and their primaries are happening on June 7th for California, and then all summer through August, and some as late as September in other states. So if you go to berniecrats.net, you'll see Bernie-leaning candidates. They've endorsed Bernie. They have announced their support for Bernie-type progressive policies and issues as their platform. And you can follow those links to make sure that those Berniecrats are who they say they are. And you can figure out when to vote for them. You can see their party affiliation because some are Democrats and then some are independents. And then some, their affiliation isn't listed. They may be no affiliation. And there's write-in candidates on that list too. So we definitely want to get you to go to berniecrats.net and see who the Berniecrats are. Now, the Greens I talked about in another video called Progressive Sea Change. We were talking about ballot access and the fact that as it stands today, Greens are on the ballot in 20 states. There are about 20, maybe 15 states in play, 15 to 20 states in play that may have Greens on the ballot. They are not on the ballot now, but the ballot access campaign has been going since 2015, and then some have started in 2016. So they'll probably be on the ballot. They're likely to be on the ballot. They're not on the ballot now, but it's possible that there's going to be success with the ballot access to get Greens on the ballot. And then there are some states where it's unlikely to have Greens on the ballot because the ballot access rules are so prohibitive. There isn't time to get them on the ballot for this election. But we'll get to that as I talk about strategies for how to move progressives into positions where they can affect change on the issues that are important to progressives. Okay, so there are 0 Berniecrats on the list at Berniecrats.net. You can check it out for yourself. It's being updated all the time. But as it stands, as of when I checked it, which was last night, there are 0 Berniecrats in Alaska. 0. There are 0 Berniecrats in Arkansas. There are 0 Berniecrats in Idaho. There are 0 Berniecrats in Louisiana. And there are 0 Berniecrats in Mississippi. There are no Bernie-leaning progressives in Alaska, Arkansas, Idaho, Louisiana, Mississippi that we know about from the webmaster at Berniecrats.net. It may be tomorrow we learn of someone or someone's like, write me in. Okay, so in these states, there are no Berniecrats. However, if you check the green, go to www.gp.org/ballot access, you'll see that while there are no Berniecrats, there are Greens on some of these states. So while you will not be able to vote for a Berniecrat, likely, you will be able to vote for a Green. And the important part of this is Greens agree with 90% of Bernie Sanders' platform. That means if we send a Green into office at the state or local or even to Washington, if we send a Green to Washington into the governor's mansion, it is very likely that that Green will support Bernie when he needs them most of all. When the Republicans and establishment Democrats turn their back on Bernie or try to obstruct him, the Green will likely support him. The Independent will likely support him. And then even on some issues, a Libertarian will support him. And I'm talking about issues such as voting access or voting laws. They will, an Independent or Libertarian will support Bernie Sanders or Green. And then campaign finance reform, militarization of our police force, the war on drugs, trade, foreign military interventions. A Libertarian, an Independent, and a Green will likely support Bernie Sanders on those policies. Now, you get beyond that, and anything else can happen. But on those key issues, they will vote or they will support and lend their endorsement to that type of issue for Bernie Sanders. We can, look at the platform of those 3 groups, and it's likely that they will do the right thing when the time is right in a progressive manner. So we want to be, again, paying attention to who's on the ballot. Just because there's a D or a Democrat next to someone's name, that does not mean that Democrat is Bernie leaning. And that's why we need to know exactly who is on the list for down ballot, who's the down ballot candidate. Okay, so we're talking about the states with zero Berniecrats available for voting. In Arkansas, there are Greens on the ballot as of today. In Louisiana, there are Greens on the ballot as of today. In Mississippi, there are Greens on the ballot as of today. That means if you do not see a Berniecrat, and the name is important, not just a Democrat, it has to be a Berniecrat Democrat. If you do not see that name on your list when you go to Mississippi, you live in Mississippi, you go to Berniecrats.net, you say, who are the Berniecrats? There's none. Then you can vote for the Green. A Green is progressive. A Green will support Bernie 90% of the time. We want the Green to have that office. If you don't see a Berniecrat or a Green, you might vote independent. You might vote Libertarian. We want to have some leverage and flexibility. Now, moving down the list, there is one Berniecrat in each of these states. There is one Berniecrat running for office in Alabama. There is one Berniecrat running for office in Washington, D.C. There is one Berniecrat running for office in North Dakota, Nebraska, and Wyoming. All these states, there is one Berniecrat available for you to support in those states. You can go to Berniecrats.net and you find the name of the person, the one person in Alabama, Washington, D.C., North Dakota, Nebraska, Wyoming. Find out who that person is. Watch for the date of the primary and then support that progressive, that Bernie leading progressive, and send them into office. Okay, so there's one. In Washington, D.C., Green is on the ballot. So, you might vote for one Berniecrat in one position, and then you say, well, who else do I vote for? Vote for the Greens. Whenever you cannot vote for a Berniecrat, vote for the Green. If there's no Berniecrat in any of the positions that you want to support, vote for the Green whenever you can. Going down Connecticut, there's two Berniecrats in Connecticut, Delaware, Kansas, Montana. Only in Delaware is there Green on the ballot. So whenever you cannot vote for a Berniecrat in Delaware, there's two that you can vote for. Beyond that, vote Green. And then in these other states, you cannot vote Green, but you can vote for the Libertarian, you can vote for the Independent, you can vote for the write-in candidate if you know for a fact that they are progressive. And on down, in Georgia, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Vermont, or Virginia, there are three Berniecrats in each of these states. There's three on the ballot in various positions. Go to Berniecrats.net, find their names, and you can fundraise for them, you can campaign for them, you can spread the word that they're on the ballot, the Berniecrats, and then there is no Green to vote for in these states. Green is not on the ballot, and it's possible that a ballot access drive is ongoing in these states because there are many states where the states have come into play. There's a play for ballot access, and it might be the campaign has started in 2015, and very likely they'll have enough signatures by the time voting happens, and Green will be on the ballot, but as of today, Green is not on the ballot. And then there are some that have not started their Green, that have not come into play until 2016, and so it's not as likely that Green will on the ballot, but things can happen and Green may be on the ballot. And so on down, you've got 4 Berniecrats in Massachusetts, New Mexico, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas. So there's 4. So you can vote for the 4 Berniecrats, and then when you run out of candidates, you can vote for the Green in Massachusetts, you can vote Green in New Mexico, you can vote for the Green in Texas. same thing. In Indiana, there are 5 Berniecrats already on the ballot. You can check the dates and see if they've already voted. But then you can also see if they're still voting. In Indiana, Kentucky, Maryland, Michigan, Pennsylvania, there are 5 Greens that are or were running for office. In Maryland and Michigan, Green is on the ballot. If you see that there are no progressive Democrats on the ballot available for you to vote, you can vote for the Green, and then that way you can send a progressive from a party other than Democrat, because progressives, you'll find them, they are no affiliation, they are independent, or they may be green, and then on some issues they may be libertarian. And you can just check the libertarian website if you want to verify their platform to see where there's the overlap. Libertarians are on the ballot in all 50 states. So wherever you cannot vote for a Berniecrat Democrat, you can vote for the independent, you can vote for the Green, or you can vote for the Libertarian. And these are free agents, so to speak. They're not in an establishment party. They are unlikely to vote the party line except by issue. So how that helps Bernie, their leverage. If Bernie becomes obstructed on the left, that's where the free agents come in that can assist him. If he gets obstructed on the right, or even on the left and the right, he can use the unaffiliated, he can use the independents, he can use the libertarians, he can use the Greens, he can use his own Berniecrats, progressive-leaning Democrats, to assist him with his program and his platform. Very important. So, again, you can be strategic. You can find out you can go to these websites, Berniecrats.net. You can go to the Green website and learn about who the candidates are on gp.org. And you can vote either Berniecrat or Green down ballot in order to assist Bernie with his programs and his platforms, which are designed to assist you. So by helping Bernie, you're helping yourself. And this is for the candidates down ballot. I do want to say, like we discussed, in some states like Alaska, Idaho, there is no Berniecrat and there's no Green to vote for. What can you do? You can assist with getting Greens on the ballot by working for the Ballot Access campaign. If there's no Green and there's no Berniecrat, you can gather up signatures and coordinate with the Green Party to get Greens on the ballot. You can also send campaign donations to either the Berniecrats or the Greens in other states that have them on the ballot. You can assist. If you're in Idaho, you're saying, well, there's no one for me to vote for or to support. You can work on the Ballot Access campaign, and then you can donate to Alaska, you can donate to a state that does have Green or Berniecrats on the ballot. And I hope that makes sense. I'm going to put some links in the description and also a little bit more about this strategy. And this is how you enact the progressive sea change that I spoke of in a previous video. You can feel the burn. You can work for the progressives. You can go green, and we can all make America a lot better than it is today. We can move forward towards the future and kiss the past goodbye. Good luck!